Max, we'll make a call to Rugby Pass now to go and do top rigs and somehow just get you in sort of third or fourth.
Oh, I wonder where I fucking end up. There we go.
No, you'd be all right. You'd be like...
Yeah, you'll be like bottom three lids, but like not rigs.
Oh, wait, Kevs, take that hat off.
I haven't got my ear. That's the thing.
Hello, and thanks for joining us on Rugby Pass Offload with me, Marc Edwards, joined as always by Glasgow Warriors captain Ryan Wilson and Bristol Bears prop Max Lahiff. Later on the show, we'll have former All Black legend and current Bristol Bear, John Afoa. First up, hello boys, how Christmas prep, all going well?
Did it last minute as always. How about you, Ryan?
Yeah, I don't really have to do anything. I don't even think, do I buy for the missus anymore? With kids, they do it. So, yeah, nothing I need to do, actually. I'm all good.
Oh, yeah.
What do you mean? They're old enough to buy her gifts?
Little Frank on it. What have you bought, mate?
No, genuinely, they usually just get us something. They do like a car boot sale at the school, I think, and usually bring home like random bits of crap that they bought her, and we just wrap that up. And then last minute ditch to Poundland always the way forward, isn't it? Is that not what you do?
Yeah, romance is
real
not dead.
Yeah.
Talking of online purchases as well, she bought my daughter, Bella, who's 5. All the kids are into these things called squishies and fidget toys. You heard of fidget toys? I think it's basically kids with like...
They're like the Beanie
ADHD.
Babies now.
No. Yeah, well, that's what it is. It's like a new fad, like these pop-it things, and they're things.
Oh, yes.
Right?
I've got one here.
Yeah, so they're obsessed. And so Bella wants a fake poo, squidgy fake poo. Mate, we've had to take this thing everywhere. If you've not watched my Instagram, then you won't have seen me having to take it out to coffee shops. All Bella wanted to do was go out for a brunch. She ordered poached egg and halloumis. And this is what she brought with her, the fake poo. Look what it looks like.
Oh, thank you, the Christmas food.
It looks like a lot of things, if I'm honest. Yes, it looks like a turd. Yes, it looks like a schlong.
Boys,
that's not good.
Like, but it's all right when you turn around because it's got eyes.
Oh, man, why is it vascular?
So when my missus open that.
Why are the kids playing with these things? Oh my god!
For those people that aren't watching and only listening, I'm holding what can only be described as a almost a dildo-looking thing. Actually, it's a child's toy. Oh my god! Imagine that she slaps that out on the table when we're at brunch, and I'm like, oh, the waitress comes over. This isn't real. Put it away.
That's not real. That's not a toy.
Oh, how?
It's a poo ground.
It's a poo shaped as a cock. But why?
The funniest thing is she keeps like dropping it out of her bum as if it's a poo, but then it also looks like a knob.
That's too much.
Oh man,
That's too much.
It's even getting like furry and stuff there.
Why didn't you get a different colour?
I'm sure there were so many options. You can buy anything.
But so yeah. Listen, the least of my worries is the futon, whatever we call it. We're getting these in the post at Christmas, mate.
Tickled me. That is.
You can't leave that lying around the house, can you? You cannot leave that lying around the house.
She's just trying to take it out in public places.
Mate, so yeah. So it's been an interesting few days. It's been an interesting few days.
Oh, that is unreal. Jesus. That's ridiculous.
We are delighted to be joined by the former All Black legend and current Bristol Bear, John Afoa. Hello, John. Thanks for joining us.
No, all good, my friend. All good.
We've just been discussing ridiculous Christmas purchases. Ryan, can you just show what your daughter requested for Christmas and just see it?
John, have you got kids?
Yeah.
Right, so mine are into these things called squishies at the moment.
Oh, okay, yeah, for sure.
Fidget toys and that, but she wanted a squishy poo, like a fake poo, and this is what.
As long as it's got eyes on it, is it?
Well, thank God it has eyes. But mate, when that's sat on the coffee table and people come around the house, they're panicking.
There's a couple of those floating around the change room, you know what I mean? But not on the coffee table at work.
The Nathan Hughes special.
Let's dive into some rugby, if we will. And John, Max, hot off the press. Congratulations, guys, on your 28-0 victory over the Scarlets. You've been handed...
I was going to say, I was like, hey, what? Congratulations on what?
The 5-point win. Joking aside, what are your thoughts on being awarded the match?
I don't know. Obviously, it was a bit of a shock to the boys this morning. Obviously, there was a lot of chat about it, but it just makes the week quite interesting where obviously there's no game now, so there's no limit on what the coaches can do to us. It's like, it's a free-for-all, you know what I mean? They got like 2 days of us just absolutely gooing it.
And it started today, didn't it? It was gooey. Oh my, it was medieval out there.
You sort of wish we found out post-training, not pre-training.
Yeah, it was raining sideways as well. It was crispy, cold and wet, and the boys were just ending each other.
The poor kid guy. He was like running and swapping the hit shields with tackle suits like halfway through training because obviously it got changed. He's like, we don't need those hit shields anymore, like full tackle suits.
Oh man, that's an absolute nightmare. Surely just like a piss up like Saris do, just go away on the piss for a couple of days. Have a word with Pat, would you, John?
Yeah, you know what I mean. But then obviously at the salary cap, people coming in, sniffing around, and then how's that trip paid for? But we'll see how we go. we might make it down to like the main street or down at the waterfront for like half an hour. We'll see how we go.
Yeah.
So is the first thought from the squad though, surely is, woohoo, we're not playing this weekend. As Ryan said, it's party time. But from your hybrid player coach way, are you thinking, we are going to beast the boys hard?
Yeah, it's a tough one. All the boys, Matthew's slightly relieved, but like as a player, it's been tough for us. It hasn't been amazing, like our results, and that means we've got to sit another week with that sort of Gloucester game on our back. It would have been nice to play a game, try and get a win under the belt, and lead into Stade, which is a mile away because we got the Sunday game, don't we, Max? So it's like an extra long build up for that. So it'll be good once we get through training Thursday, Friday, get like a long weekend, but then it's just sort of back onto it and like sort of build up for a game.
John, you're 38 years young. It meant to be a sort of, as we talked about, hybrid bit part player. You played the full 80 minutes. How was the body on Saturday?
Oh, it was rigor mortis, 100%. Came back on the bus, it was a bit of roadworks, and honestly, I couldn't stand up straight. My back was stuck at like a 45-degree angle, like walking forward to my house. You know what I mean? I honestly couldn't get straight for like a day, but a couple of nickels and other like remedies to get me going again was the key to get through the Tuesday goo today.
Oh, what remedies? They still have you doing the full Tuesday at that age, fella?
Oh yeah, you know what I mean. Like
he loves it really. Why are you playing it down? You love it, bro.
They're like, the trainers are like, oh, you just manage yourself, do what you can. I'm on the front line, jumping over I'm over the hill first with the boys, just giving it the fucking shield up.
Oh, that's never good. When they say, "Oh, manage yourself," you're like, "Well, that's me doing everything then because I can't pull out." That's out of order. That's
I look
sad,
around
sad
and it's like running on the sideline. Max is not doing much. I'm just like, amazing. Am I meant to manage myself with no one?
John, you get to play and coach Max week in, week out. What's he like to coach?
Oh, Max. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? Like, he is a funny man. Obviously, you know that, but like, you got to really check what you ask him, because if you don't have 5 minutes, you're going to be running late. You know what I mean? I'd be like, oh, what do you think? And then obviously, he's chewed half my ear off. I've only got half a ear left anyway. And he's confused me with all these big words. So I'm just amazing. God. And I'll just be like, oh, text me. And then I can digest it and use Google search on all the words he uses.
The Riddler.
Nah, he loves it. Loves the code talk.
Honestly, John, have you ever come across a specimen like that? Like, the man is shredded, isn't he? What is he doing?
He came up the other day because obviously we're the rugby lads love talking about rigs, don't they? Like top 3 rigs, bottom 3 rigs, nothing in between. So he was getting his name chucked around with the whole Carlos Spencer back in his glory days when he was absolutely
honored.
Jose Guerra when he's absolutely a meter wide, back out here, you know what I mean? So he is obviously in that conversation, sadly, for all the time about best rigs in rugby. It's sad to say that, isn't it? And then I'm on the opposite end, always in the chat for bottom 3 rigs. So you know what I mean.
Bottom three.
There's always like an opposite. There's an opposite thing, isn't it? Like in that movie, like I'm like Mr. Glass. He's the other guy, like Bruce.
Yeah, Unbreakable.
Like, Unbreakable. It's the yin and the yang. I mean,
Max, we'll make a call to Rugby Pass now to go and do top rigs and somehow just get you in sort of third or fourth.
Oh, I wonder where I
that's
fucking
brilliant.
end up. There we go.
No, you'd be all right. You'd be like,
yeah,
you'd
you'll be like
in the
bottom
middle.
3 lids, but like not rigs.
Oh, Kevs, take that hat off.
I haven't got my ear yet. That's the thing.
Bloody hell.
Right. Let's just talk quickly. You also, not just Max, you work with Carl Sinclair a lot. Where does he rank in your sort of pantheon of props that you've played with and against?
Oh,
And rigs.
Yeah, he's not top 3 rigs. He's an absolute. Sinks is great, you know what I mean. He's funny and all that, but he can be a bit of a hand grenade. Like you get him in the sauna for 10 minutes and he's just changed personality. It's just where's Sink's gone, and he's like slapping boys. I feel sorry for
Daddy.
Brian Dern. Yeah,
That's Daddy
he
when
really
he goes like that.
Really
Yeah.
takes advantage and starts slapping boys on the back, starts biting boys. He just gets a bit weird when he like been in that sauna too long. Addicted to chewing gum, the Wrigley's Extra, like. You know what I mean? He's got like a 50 pack in his locker that I help myself to, which is always good. And then, you know what? It sinks. He's ball of energy, loves getting amongst it when he's training like once a month. So it's good.
Complicated and intense. Yeah.
Playing-wise, who does he most remind you of players that you've played with?
Who has big sinks? Well, I don't know. It's hard to say. He has got a decent skill set. You know what I mean? Like he can tackle. He's reasonably mobile. You got the little calves in the team, obviously, so he can get around the field really well. Honestly, he's quite sensitive about his calves, so don't say too much about them.
Yeah, he's always checking. Do my calves look good? How do I look? Do I look all right? Bro,
Like,
do I look all right?
You can't talk to Sinks about his calves or his playlists, like that he plays in the gym. He takes them real personally.
Sacred.
So you know, I think he's like one of those like new breed of players who could like do everything and say anything. And you know, hopefully, you know, he was a bit rough at the start, but he's really sort of softened his edges, not getting sent off as much. And you know, it's good for the young boys too to sort of see what like high level rugby looks like at training.
What is his obsession with this sauna then? Because Max has touched on it before. I mean, I go through my times in the sauna. You know, you're at David Lloyd, and
yeah.
You're at David Lloyd, and someone
yeah.
comes in, and you look at him, you think, I'm going to outdo you, mate. And then it's a battle. You're on. Like, you're not going out before this bloke. Absolutely dying. Is it one of those, or is that what it is? Is it a mental thing? Is he like beating people in the sauna, or is he just obsessed with it?
That's
He's just
you,
obsessed
man.
with it.
You're the sauna man. You and him.
Yeah. No, he's just obsessed with it. I think it started when he went to Japan. So for the World Cup, all the boys were just smashing those because the Japanese have these incredible spas, and he was just fully addicted to it. And when he came back, he just fully invested. He's got a whole setup out in his garden, like just a recovery labor room, and he's just in there, just getting weird at night in the dark. Just sits in there, hot tub, into the ice, repeat, rinse, and he just loves it. But yeah, he does get a bit zealous.
No one sees him, isn't he? He's a bit of a like.
He's a recluse, very
like,
introspective soul.
But like,
oh yeah, he got some chickens.
I don't know how long has he been living in Bristol. I don't think anyone's seen him outside of Bristol, like outside of.
Unless it's a team social,
yeah. Like,
otherwise, it's like
every other day I'll be like, "Oh, what are you up to, man?" He's like, "Yeah, man, trying to like go lie on my couch for 10 hours in sauna." I'm like, "Amazing," and he just does that all the time.
yeah.
Oh, sounds like the life.
Right, let's move back to events on the pitch. Quickly go through 9 from 9 for Leicester, winning a titanic struggle with the reigning champions Quins. Max, what did you make of that Tigers performance?
Yeah, I just think the halfbacks like George and Benny were just on fire, weren't they? Like especially George, but he had the ball on a string. Just really, really impressive display of just controlling the game. And that's sort of the Leicester way right now. He's sort of that perfect 10. Unfortunately, he's leaving and going to Sale, but mate, he was outstanding. And then they got that big ass pack, just putting him in the front seat. Yeah.
Their replacement's not too bad though, is he?
Yeah, it's not bad, is it? Andre Pollard suits it perfect as well, I suppose. Like that's his game, and it's South Africa playing a similar kind of brand.
Let's move on to the RC. Your Glasgow side destroying the Dragons 33-14. 5 tries in the process to get back to winning ways. Who impressed you the most?
I'll tell you what, Jack Dempsey, the number 8 here, he is on absolute fire at the moment. He's a very, very strange man. I don't know if you've ever come across him. I think he's got 6 caps maybe for Australia, but he's come over. You know, when you introduce guys to the group and you get them up at the front, and he straight off the bat went, "Listen, boys, I'm just going to tell you straight from the off, I'm a bit of a weirdo." We're like, right, hold on a minute. He must be odd. But he is absolutely tearing it up at the moment. Every time I looked up, he's line breaks and just calling goon balls. He just picked through the middle of the rucks and off he goes. Yeah, he absolutely tore him a new one. Our old mate Jamie Roberts as well, after last week, punting the book. He didn't have a great night.
Was it awkward with him? He was on Jamie Roberts on the pod last week. New book.
Why was it such a bad night?
He didn't even bring me a book up. Oh, because, well, to be fair, we should have been a lot further ahead at half-time. I think it was 19-0 at half-time. We butchered a few opportunities, but there was one point I was on the bench by this time, thank goodness, and Big Jimmy had a walk in at the corner and our winger absolutely smoked him. I don't know how he didn't score. I don't know. Well, none of the Dragons boys had a good day. They didn't do very well. My old mate Aki Sealy, he was back up here, giving him a lot of chat at scrum time. Absolutely loved it. He was a Glasgow player last year. Very good mate of mine. I absolutely love coming up against blokes that you're good mates with, especially when you're on the flank and he is the prop in front of me and I'm able to just talk complete and utter shit to him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but it was a good win and Jack Dempsey was on fire.
John, have you come across Ryan at all? Have you battled before to some of that as a prop yourself?
The old Ulster days, obviously, Glasgow were like a half-decent team back then, you know what I mean? Like, had a few old... Hey, whoa, not on my time, man. They seem to go well, like, you know, later on. But, yeah, I was thinking that, but before I was like, obviously, had the longest year. Just one of those real mongrels, like, just like always chirping up, like, he's Matthew a little bit lighter, so he was getting around the field a bit better. It seemed to be at every breakdown. You'd be like, please, man, just have a day off. Like, let us just like win one without you contesting it. And then, yeah, geez, I can't remember who they had, but like Glasgow was like a solid team. They had a big pack, like good wingers, like good pace on the ball. So,
what year was that? You were at Ulster, John? I'm trying to think.
Like 11, 12, 13, 14.
The days of Big Al Kellogg. Do you remember him? The second row?
Yeah. You know what I mean? I can't remember the foreigners you boys had, but like it was good competition, isn't it? I think obviously Glasgow was always a good night out. So you can't complain about that either. I did enjoy my time, like obviously when I was the Pro 14, just spending half my wage on taxis like every other weekend when we go away.
It was always a good battle against Ulster. They're always good ones because they're so close to each other. It's almost a rivalry. There's so many Northern Irish fans in Glasgow as well, so it's always a good crowd on what used to be a Friday night up here, eh?
Yeah, no, it's class.
Speaking of Friday nights, Cardiff finally landed back in the UK at their 4th attempt on Friday night. Don't know if you guys saw this. Cardiff player Matthew Morgan tweeting, what a shambles of a league the URC is. Shocking they dragged us out to South Africa in the first place. Can't even fly us home. And the Welsh government is getting more of a joke day by day. Caps lock, get us the fuck out of here, you clowns. He did later delete the tweet, and it's in the context of having a heavily pregnant partner at home. But do we understand his frustration? We think he's got a bit overboard.
I saw that like someone had put it into like a rugby chat, like and firstly it's like, ain't nobody dragging me to South Africa. I am the first on the plane. You know what I mean? Like someone would say they're touring Africa for 3 weeks. I'm like, take me. I'll pay to go. You know, poolside, having passion fruit lemonades, like, or you can eat meat joints down at Ocean Basket. You know what I mean? Like, oh, yeah. Like, nah, don't drag me. Take me to Africa, please.
Jonathan, working for the tourism board. We'll get them sponsoring you after the back of that.
Oh, listen, he's obviously had a few beers, hasn't he? Surely he's had a few beers.
He's on like a couple of like Windhooks or something he got from some bud from the like room service. You know, exactly. £5 for like a dozen.
No, it sounds like a stressful place over there. I mean, I heard some stories about Simon Zebo popping champagne off the balconies and stuff, but I know that some of the Cardiff boys are stressing out. And if you've got a miss at home that's pregnant, you'd be doing your nothing, wouldn't you? So listen, he knows he's done wrong. Let's not hang him for it. He's done his little apology. I read that today, bless him. I've got it here now, saying that it was very stressful, uneasy time. All my anxiety had been triggered by my heavily pregnant partner. So listen, leave Matthew Morgan alone. We're allowed one of them tweets every now and
then. Nothing ever leaves the internet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I delete the tweet. Just been screenshotted everywhere. Yeah.
Honestly,
We
whoever
don't
made their
forget.
screenshot, they need to get it up again.
Yeah, they terrible blokes. Oh.
Shocking bloke.
They're so quick on it as well. It's just happened like so quick.
Anything slightly
People do it,
contrary,
eh?
you're clipping it. It's out there. It's done. It's over for you.
Yeah.
Let's turn to another in the URC. You mentioned it earlier, Ryan. That moment between Bongi and Bismarck, Jaco Piper asking both hookers to come back to the values in the battle of the hookers. Who would you back to come out on top in that tete-a-tete?
We're talking about a scrap, like Mortal Kombat.
Was
I
it
don't know,
Bismarck
man.
Duplessis?
I think I'm going with Bismarck. He's just horrible. He's like a Kryptonian. Sent
He's
from
got
space.
wisdom on his side as well, hasn't he? He's getting on.
The man's forearms are the size of like tree trunks.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
he's a-
Like I've been manhandled by those forearms a many a time, thinking I'm going to ragdoll this like younger brother, and you know what I mean? Like he'll make Max. His forearms are like dominate Max's chest right now. He'll be squashing like watermelons with his forearms. You know what I mean?
Right. Straight metahuman. Yeah, he's a different sort of bloke.
Hang on, but Bongo and Bonambi's not exactly a sort of shrinking violet, though, is he?
No, I think Bongo's keen to get messy, but I just think Bismarck's like, I don't know, he just looks apex.
Yeah. Once he got you, you're done. You know what I mean?
reckon
Get those arms
If he
around you.
dies. Yeah. Come here, boy. I'm
You
going
got
to
to try
show
and
you.
keep it up. You know, if he goes to the ground, he's done. You know what I mean? He's just going to stay on his feet, like trying like haymaker him.
Absolutely, yeah.
He's
All
going to
ground
pick his shots wisely. Yeah. Nah, let's. So we're going Bismarck, yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
The votes.
Right. What we're going to do is go from Bismarck to Max's book club, and then we'll turn all our attentions on John. John, if you don't know what this is, Max's book club is very simple. He reads a passage from a player's autobiography, and yourself and Ryan need to guess who that player
Easy
is.
enough. If it's on from New Zealand, that's about it. I'll take New Zealand, and you guess the rest, Ryan.
Oh yeah, all
Thank you.
good.
My first attempt at psychological one-upmanship was a complete disaster, for which I'm not sure Paddy Johns, the toughest of Ulstermen, has yet forgiven me. I got it into my mind that as a team we looked soft and unhealthy, particularly when compared to the heavily muscled, ultra-athletic Springboks, and that this had something to do with the fact that so many of the members of the squad were pale of complexion. I knew that serious competitive bodybuilders routinely bronzed themselves up as a way of accentuating their musculature. So why not us? How about getting yourselves a fake tan? I said to the players, thinking it would send out the right kind of message to our opponents. Some followed my advice, some didn't. One of those who went for it was Paddy. Come match day, his face was bright orange. When he ran onto the field in Bloemfontein, it was like witnessing a second sunrise. It wasn't the greatest of brainwaves, if I'm honest, but it seemed like a good idea at the time. That's it. It's a shorty.
I know.
Do you know?
I was talking with the book about Rory, isn't it? It's the lock or six that used to play for Ulster. Is that him? He's an old geese. He's not like a young guy. It's not Big Willie. It's something else, isn't it?
What's that? We usually get like an accent or something.
Oh, no, sorry, there was no accents there.
Oh, do another 2 minutes with an accent.
Yeah, can you not just chuck like the
How
last
about
bit
getting
of an
yourselves
accent?
a fake tan?
Is he Australian now? I don't think he's Australian. He's from Northern Ireland, isn't he?
No.
Nah, you're throwing me now. Is it like Russell?
No.
Crowe?
Yeah, that was Australian. That wasn't. You get your own eye. Was not that.
No. I was trying to do a Kiwi.
A Kiwi one.
Yeah.
Oh, you should have left that with Dan Carter's one I saw That was humping too.
I didn't do that on Dan Carter's one, I don't think.
Right, hold on a minute. All I've got is Paddy Johns.
What's his name? Rugby book.
No, you can't Google it, man. Oh, I thought you were...
I can see the guy in my head, but I just don't know his name, isn't it?
Right, well, hold on.
Like Robert or something like that?
Paddy Johns, I'm guessing... Hold on, you did a Kiwi accent, but they were in South Africa.
Do you want a clue?
So hold on, are those facts that I've just stated correct? He's playing with Paddy Johns, who's an Irishman, yes?
Yes. Yes, he is. Paddy Johns is an Ulsterman, yeah.
And they were playing in South Africa.
Yes.
So they
that does make it interesting, doesn't it?
So were they playing an international game for Ireland?
Like 20 guesses. Is he Irish?
Do you want a clue?
Well, is he Australian? No, we settled on that. Or is he Kiwi? Right. So he's a Kiwi, and he played. He's a Kiwi with a Kiwi accent, and he played with someone called Paddy Johns.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't a player.
Oh, he was a coach. He's a coach.
Yeah.
Okay, here we are. See, John, we're getting closer now. We're picking this apart, mate.
A Kiwi coach.
It was a Kiwi coach that obviously coached Paddy Johns for Ireland against South Africa.
Oh, get one. He coached
there
Ireland,
it is.
didn't he?
There it is. Good work.
Yeah,
John Boy's got it.
Nice, mate. There you are. See, I just throw out like the clues.
Yeah.
I pick it apart, and you've just nailed it with Warren Gatland. Unbelievable.
I actually didn't know that.
Only because I knew that he coached in Ireland. That was about it.
Right. So you don't need to reveal your thinking behind it, John. We can make you out to be a genius. It's better.
Can you just tell me what actually happened though? So what he made them all fake tan?
Yeah, he made them fake tan because he thought they all looked like alabaster potato farmers, I suppose, or something. I don't know. He thought they were.
That's
too
a tough one. You know what I mean? Like all those guys are getting like sunburn, aren't they?
Yeah, but fake tan ain't gonna.
No, it's not the beds, not sunbeds.
Like
he just sprayed them.
Oh,
no, they would just spray them with the orange. You've been tangoed, sports sauce.
Oh my god,
That's a weird one.
I don't know.
Early 2000s, 90s.
He's really refined his coaching craft, I think, since then.
So I really think like maybe that's where like Donica.
He was playing in the mid 90s.
I could just see like big like Paulie or Donica like lining up for that fake tan.
Did they even have fake tan back then?
Paddy John's fake tan. Let's see if it comes up.
Did they even have fake tan? Think fake tan. How long ago was that? That's like 30 years ago.
Well, they had it for bodybuilding, didn't they? So like they had some version of it.
It was
there's
just
no
like
images of
bit of turmeric rubbed into you.
Yeah.
John, obviously being a Kiwi, rugby running through your veins, can we start with your honest appraisal of the All Blacks' performances in the autumn internationals?
Well, I don't know if you saw me on Channel 4 and giving my professional opinion half an hour before the game with my hat turned backwards.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Yeah, we did.
It didn't get quite appreciated. Matthew was better taken than the BT upside down microphone I did on Friday night. That was a strange one, but the ABs honestly, they just got beat up the last two games, didn't they? Like, if you don't play well against good teams like Ireland and France, you're going to get done. So they had their moments through the year, like, when they look good, they look good. But if you don't get the fundamentals of your game right, you're going to be beat.
Was there any sense that this would happen, that the All Blacks would lose to Ireland and then lose back-to-back by going down to France as well? Because it wasn't guessed in this, with these esteemed gentlemen. So,
but you think about last two games, they're two tough ones. And I wouldn't think ever they're going to be like an absolute banker like Ireland or France. You know what I mean? They've always done well against the Welsh. Italy away, then two big games to finish. And obviously Ireland had sort of won majority of the last fixtures in the last sort of 3 or 4 games. And the French have been running hot, you know what I mean? I did see their game versus Argentina. Everyone knows the ability they do have. And you saw it when they get it going. Like the best or second best team in the world can't stop them. So,
Which shirts do you think are up for grabs in the All Black setup at the moment?
oh yeah, I don't think they'll be like hanging guys out. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
a tour to see guys play, to develop guys again. It's always a tough one because, you know, obviously coaches might be trying to build depth, you know what I mean, World Cup and all that, but you know what those New Zealanders, the fans are like, they want wins all the time, all, you know, every day, all day, because we always want to say we're the best team in the world. And when you can't, it's always hard. You know what I mean? It's our number one sport. If we can't say we're the best in the world, we just stay quiet. So we're like back number one. Then we're like, we're back, baby, number one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's a tough crowd, and actually lots of people have been calling for Ian Foster to go. What do you make of him as a coach, and do you think the All Blacks should stick or twist?
Oh, I like Fozzie, you know what I mean? I had him for like the New Zealand juniors and all that kind of stuff. And he's a smart guy, you know, he comes across very like straight and like one tone, but he's reasonably dry funny at times. He doesn't quite like me, but I used to give him a lot of grief, but that's fine. But he knows his stuff, and they got a good coaching team around them, you know what I mean, with, you know, the defense coach and the forwards guy, Plumtree and all that kind of stuff. So they do have the coaching knowledge and guys who have coached internationally and teams. So, you know, I think they got the right mix. It'll just be, they'll start narrowing their team and looking for performances, you know, maybe next year and or the 12 months out from World Cup.
So no panic at the moment?
Nah. All eyes on the Blues. That's all I'm saying. That's my team, baby.
We will come to the Blues, and that's quite nice of you to say it as a Bristol player. But let's start right back at school.
Yeah.
You played in the same school 15. This is kind of ridiculous to think about it. Joe Rokocoko and Jerome Kaino. How dominant were you guys at school, and who really was the standout player in that team?
I think Rox was the one, wasn't he? Like Joe Rox was like the guy who we got the ball to all the time. Like our school year, we did have a couple of like really good guys. We had Tane Tupulotu my first year as well. So he played for Newcastle and did a bit for the Hurricanes. But I remember, because we actually all played together in under 15s for counties. Because me and Jerome had gone to one school in Pepakura, then Joe was at another school in Manurewa. So, you know, for 3 years later, we were all at the same school through scholarships and all that. And Jerome had come over to play 13 because he played in the backs. When I first met him, you know, he was playing 10 because he was like tall and skinny. Then he got a bit bigger, so they put him at fullback, got a bit bigger again, and then he was playing 13. So he turned up at St. Kitts playing 13, and it was just, you know, I wouldn't say struggling, but like we lost all our loose forwards, and we're like, oh, we need a number 6, and they're like, well, why don't you jump there, Lums, and have a run at 6 because you're big enough anyway, like, and see how you go. Then that was it. Our 6 was swapped to 13, and Lums went to 6, and then that was it. He stayed 6 since school.
Where did that 6 go? What was his career like?
Sam Whiteman, we would play for varsity for a little bit, but you know what I mean? He was like a local boy that went to like St. Kitts right through, and you know, the first 15 was most probably finished, but we had a great team, and only a couple of us sort of went on, but we're good friends with all the boys still. But yeah, Joe was the superstar because obviously his uncle was like Venderi as well. So like everyone will be like, oh, watch out for like baby Venderi and all this kind of stuff.
You mentioned your love, your team. You played for the Blues for 7 years. Can you tell us what was the initiation like at the Blues? Max obviously spent a season playing in New Zealand. It seemed the Kiwis do initiations well.
Oh, like it wasn't too bad. Like we had like an older team, a couple of old boys with like Spencer and Xavier Rush. You know, the guy who famously like dropped that dude in the Cardiff takeaways like a month ago, like shoulder barged him to the ground. Yeah. Like, I was just like, what are you doing? But like, you know, they do like a beer, and I think the major one was like the milestone. So like your first beer, like, you know, might make the first game, you might do 1 or 2 beers, but if you played 50, you had to do 5 shotguns, isn't it, with the cans? So like rip those open, like boom. For your 100, you have to do a yard glass. So like straight after the game. So like, so you like play the game, whatever it is, and then the boys have already filled the yard glass, and just doing that after the game was never nice. But like, those are always good memories, you know what I mean? For like the 2 hours I remember, like nicking the yard glass on my 100th and then like passing out like maybe 2 hours later.
What about your ITM team? Was there a big initiation there at Auckland?
Oh, nothing like unofficial, you know what I mean? Like Thai, maybe flaming arsehole, all that kind of stuff. You know, a couple of like torpedoes, but it was weird. Like it was never too weird, but like the older boys would make a effort to take you out, and you were looked after. You know what I mean? Like no drinks, you'd have to buy anything. You're like out with the boys, bigging it up, and then the next week they don't know you, like embarrassing. You'd be like, oh yeah, boys. They'd be like, fuck off. You'd be like, oh. Like you get your 1 week with the lads, and then the next week you're like absolutely like back at the bottom of the bus, like the one seat behind the coaches like that. Like amazing, I'm on the bus with the boys.
Yeah, the Mad Mondays with biblical.
Back of the bus was always a good one. You know what I mean? Like if you're away, like getting called down to the back of the bus. Yeah, obviously, like if they're telling you to tell stories or whatever it is, or drinking, that was like, you know, sit out with the boys for like half an hour, you get abused, and then send your way back to the front of the bus, possibly rip shirt open and all that kind of stuff.
Being a player coach now, John, where do you sit on the bus?
Oh no, I'm still with the brothers at the back. You know what I mean?
Like,
I haven't crossed that bridge. Like I got my one spot in the team meeting room that I haven't like moved. Like even though I'm like half and half, which is like the absolute back right corner behind the desk there. I can put my feet up if I'm feeling it. Like if I'm getting, like, if the meetings get a bit long, I want to stretch my legs, I might just put my feet up on the desk on the like recliner. So that's my spot. Like the boys know that's where I sit, and you hear me chooping up every now and then in a meeting. I'll be like, "Yeah, boys, need to sort this out."
It's one funny thing about rugby. Everywhere's the same. It's everyone in your meeting room all sit in the same place.
Yeah. I gotta have my spot.
That corner's pretty set up. Like it's John, Nathan, Harry Thax. Who else is back there? But you had DT pretty.
DT, yeah. We did have a couple of guys leave. Like Ben Earl was a regular.
Oh yeah, he was a regular.
Ciali was
the sapper
back with us. You know what I mean? So,
have any new signings or like young players ever just got it wrong, where they've sat in the wrong space in the coach or wrong seat in the meeting, and then suddenly that's got to be looked after by the senior pros?
It's a strange one. Like I don't feel like they run the bus as strict. You know what I mean? Like here, like boys just sit where they like to sit. I'll still make a point to like sit like one from the back on the right. Like that's where my seat, isn't it? Like I think in New Zealand, like only the skipper would sit like right at the back. You know what I mean? So like I'll be like the 2IC, so I'll be like the first bodyguard, like back right, like the one in front. You know what I mean? Like the last line of defense, just in case someone got through. That's my seat. Like, and I always make an effort to sit there. Like, but now everyone likes to play poker and all cards at the back of the bus with all these tables.
You need 100 caps, or you ain't getting back to the back 4 rows. Like you said, skipper sits in the middle. Wilson's right at the back. Leg room. Richie Gray, 6'20". He's crammed up in a tiny little seat.
Oh, it is. The most awkward bit was 1 year for the Blues. I was like, might have been my second to last year. So I was reasonably further back. And then my brother was like in the wider training, but he was like 2 years older than me. So we're like going away pre-season, and he's jumped on the bus late, and he's trying to turn right and like walk towards the back, and I had to give it the odd, sorry, bud, turn around. And he had to like turn around, put his head down, like walk to the front of the bus. Like obviously I just said it like just because that's like my job, and then I felt so bad. I was like, oh my goodness, like I just like done my older brother like in front of the boys. It still hurts me. Yeah, a job's a job, isn't it? Like
exactly.
No one gets a free pass.
Max, hold on. So I just got to find that out. Max, where are you on the bus, mate?
I sort of dot around. I'm usually sitting with Jan in the middle, sort of, just in front of John, pretty much the row in front of John. I'm just in there. But like the biggest stalwart I ever saw on a bus was farm round back, mate. If anyone sat there, they were getting shifted. I remember Marlon Yard, young Marlon Yard. He had the world at his feet. Absolutely, like just he was a bit of a brat, but great player, unbelievable player. And he thought his shit didn't stink really. So he thought he could sit anywhere. And Farm was having none of it, mate. It was like religion at the time because he just got from Whitgift. Just won the Daily Mail, feeling like a big show. Then Farn Roundback's like he's sitting in Farn's seat in this game. It's like pre-season or something. and he's just absolutely manhandled him out of it because he's given him a bit of lip backwards. I was just like, oh my God. And ran back's like this huge Dutchman, like massive old school, like tight head. He's having none of it. But yeah, that was probably my like first memory of like, there is certain seats you just could never sit in on the bus with certain guys. Yeah, long may it continue.
Too right. And then the old one from back in the day, we're probably getting on this too much, where you get the academy boys to charge the back of the bus. You ever do that?
Yeah, and they do the slaps. Oh, bro, with the paddle. Oh my God. And Stilo would be there and he'd be standing up waiting for the young boys. And he'd be going like hell for leather. Him and Stefan Armitage just trying to end you on the way back. Savage, bro. From the gauntlet. You know?
Good old traditions.
Absolutely.
They don't happen anymore, though, do they?
No, never.
This world, not in this world.
You won the World Cup in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Should have been the happiest day of your career. Tarnished perhaps by the fact you thought you somehow didn't deserve the medal?
Yeah, like obviously, like for like the next year afterwards, obviously because I left straight away to go to Ulster. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, you won the World Cup, but like not being on the field was always like a tough one. You know what I mean? I think because I wasn't there for much of the like celebrations afterwards or like the World Cup to settle, it was just like, oh no, like I was part of the team, but I didn't win it. So it wasn't Matthew until like a couple of years after that I sort of maybe felt like, yes, I was part of the team. That was still important, like training with the boys, prepping boys, you know what I mean? Like keeping the energy high during the week. Even though that's not playing, that was still like a large part of the camp, you know what I mean? So I think after a while, I was like, okay, maybe, you know, yes, I wasn't on the field for that final whistle, but, you know, maybe I still like deserve the medal and all that.
Where is the medal?
It's just in storage, isn't it? Like, it's one of those things, like packed up the house, like threw it in storage and that was it. But it was like, obviously the game was tight, wasn't it? And then, you might know Flynn, because he was up in Glasgow for a little bit, Corey Flynn, the hooker.
Yeah.
So obviously me and him were tight because we didn't play much. So we're like roomies the whole way through. So we warmed up the boys. Everything's all good. We fill our pockets with all like these special Steinlager cans they done for the World Cup. We're like, oh, this is us. Get to halftime, we'll start drinking. Because obviously we blitzed France in the round robin, didn't we? So we're like, get to halftime, it's still tight. We're like, the boys will be fine. As the game goes on, it stays tight. And you can see the crowd getting like a bit restless. They're like, oh shit, are they gonna like not win again? So it got to like the last 10 minutes. We're still stone cold sober, haven't dared to open up a beer yet. And it's still like, I don't even know what the score was, but we're like, oh my God, the tension's getting too much. 5 minutes to go, like the crowd, I feel like someone's gonna start ripping chairs out of Eden Park and throwing it on the field. Me and Flinny end up ditching the game and running inside to the change rooms to watch the last 2 minutes live on TV, just in case like the boys didn't get it done and like a riot broke out.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And then once the final whistle went, we like started drinking the beers and ran up with the boys.
He's a good man. He's a good man, Corey Flynn. I
do like send him the odd video now and then of Flinny. He's a top man. But like,
John,
it was tense, you know what I mean? It was a tense game, like watching it and like being part of the squad.
Do you know what? Like, just to touch on that, like when you say about your medal, things like that. You know, I haven't won much. Like but anything I do have, like my first cap, my first jersey, nothing ever gets done until you finish. I don't think the Pro 14 medals like in my sock drawer somewhere, just in case the house gets robbed.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Things like that, and you worry about.
Now they'll know.
Well, no one's going to rob my house, are they? You should see the state of it. But it's funny, all these things that you go through picking up for rugby, and it's only at the end that you actually start to appreciate them, mate. But I was waiting for you to tell me where your World Cup medal was, because I was going to come rob your house, actually.
It's like stuck somewhere like that. It's like this thing, like when you're playing, you think, oh, who cares? Like you don't want to be that guy with like 10 jerseys on the wall, like Joe Joyce, you know what I mean? Even though they're like 10 Bristol ones, it's like, but like, you know, why? It's fine. But like, yeah, definitely at my age now, I'm like, oh, I better like take care of that stuff. Like I have like in the last sort of being in Europe, like collected stuff like programs, like bits and pieces. Because when it's done, and you know what I mean? Like I'm well and truly I should have like retired 5 years ago, but like I'm still hanging on tooth and claw. But yeah, grabbing what I can, because when it's done, and I'm waiting for that like barbarian invitation for that last hurrah.
Oh, mate, if I'm there, both of you boys are in, don't worry.
Talking about New Zealand, these days, John, we see increasingly more teams try and front up and sort of smirk or laugh at the haka as a psychological thing. Of all your international caps, which team or player upset you the most with their actions during the haka?
Wasn't too bad. Like maybe back then, obviously the haka was still quite like a big thing, and all the teams were always very like respectful. But one time we were in Wales. I wasn't playing. Shock. But like the Welsh team were trying different things, like roof open, roof closed, or whatever, that kind of stuff. But one year they were like, "Oh, we want you like to perform the haka before the anthems," and then and all that kind of stuff. And then I think they just told the team when they turned up. So it was all a bit of a meeting with the coaches and the senior players. They're like, "Fuck that, we're not gonna change anything." So they end up doing the haka in the change rooms to all the non-playing boys and stuff, and then gone out anthems, and that was it. So that was most of the strangers not seeing, and I think obviously the fans were gutted not being able to see the haka live. I think they might have showed it from the change room, but that was it. So that was maybe the weirdest one.
You kidding me? You had to do it in the change room.
In the change room, remember that
boys
one?
did it in the change rooms, yeah, because obviously they wanted because they were "Oh, the haka is a special power for them. We don't want to them to do the haka right before the kickoff." And then I remember the kickoff, Mata absolutely smoked someone head high, gave away a penalty.
Yes.
And then it was first thing, kicked the ball off head high, penalty, and the boys might have got 40 on them that day.
You hammered, you hammered.
The boys went in the mood afterwards. They're just nah, these guys are having it.
That's good though, eh? It revs boys up when they try and play those mind games. Even better when it backfires on them, especially the Welsh. Lovely, love that.
Quick one. We touched upon the old initiations. We've had a lot of Gloucester players, John, on the show. Yeah. Talk us through the old milking initiation, or the milk initiation. Not milking initiation. This sounds weird. The milk initiation.
Yeah.
Please tell me. Yeah, how'd it go for you? Did you pass it?
The thing is, I didn't have to do it. I was all mad keen, but they brought in this rule, I think, for Hibbs, Richard Hibbard, because he had his long hair, and he was like, "Boys, I'm not cutting my hair, so I'm not doing the challenge." Because he had I think some personal stuff with his hair and all that kind of stuff. So the boys were like, "Oh shit. If he's not going to do it, what are we going to do?" So I think they end up putting an age cap on it. If you're over 28, 29, you didn't have to do the milk challenge. So I was already bored anyway. So I was like, "Boys, I'm done anyway." So I didn't have to do it, but I remember it clearly because there was a couple of young boys Purds in our team, Billy Burns, Stookie, all done it. And that's sad, but I'm going to say it anyway. Obviously, the young boy, Billy Burns, he was a young kid. He had bad acne at that stage, but he had bits on his head. So when they're cutting his head, they accidentally snipped a few bits on his skull, and it all started bleeding and stuff. And the man's I was just like, "Oh man!" And he had this horrible shaped lid. I'm sorry, Billy, but yeah, he got this hanging shaped lid. And they had to wear a cap for a month easy. You know what I mean? I was like, "Oh, my man's done here. They've done him." And obviously the Clippers they had were 10 years old, never been sharpened. They should be in the bin. But Big Charlie Sharples with his pea head was absolutely revenge from someone that done him. It was just and just done him. I was like, that's horrendous.
Oh, I can't believe we're getting the scoop on. There's an age limit to that. That's.
I know. I think they
reckon you could do it.
If Big Stoop couldn't do it, I ain't doing it. You know what I mean? If you can't, if Big Stookie with his this was Fat Stoop.
What did Stoop? How?
Not like Stoop when he was at Bath or at Wasp when he's all lean, got his hair done.
Yeah, it was
Stoop when he was 125 kilos. Had the skin head, had the fat.
Still
head.
Worked at a kebab van. Yeah. That guy was a big boy back then.
Chafe between the legs, but he couldn't handle the pints of milk. So there was no way I'm doing it.
How many pints did he get through?
He got through the lot, but it was 3, 2, 1, drank it, but then chunned it with 1 second to go. So disqualified him and whipped the lid off.
I wish you'd heard the fighting talk from the boys about, particularly Ryan, getting one of those out. Well, one of these, I'll do it now.
We've still got to do it. Oh, mate, maybe that's your marinade with Max next episode, mate. I'll come down to Bristol and do it with you, Max.
What is it's the beginning skit? Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Or you could do, what is it? It's the milk or the eggs, isn't it? You can do your eggs and age as well. That's the other option.
Oh, is that right?
Eggs
Just
in
chop.
the
Yeah.
cage.
So if you don't want to drink milk, you could, because Ollie Thorley's like allergic to everything. So like, so I think they had to like just get egg whites for him, but Big Val, like he didn't want to do the milk, so he tried to do his Asian eggs, and he got through like 15 or something boiled eggs and like pulled the pin.
Oh, so not
Oh,
raw
mate.
eggs.
Nah, boiled eggs, yeah.
Oh,
Like,
boiled
not like
eggs would be
nicely boiled,
tough.
like boiled like chalk inside.
Oh,
Mate, that would be harder, I reckon.
Trying to smash 30 eggs.
Cool Hand Luke vibes. Oh,
Mm.
impossible.
you'd love it, Max. Don't lie.
Mate,
You
30
do
eggs,
eggs.
you'd be all over that. Think of the protein in it, mate.
protein, mate.
Yeah.
I'd be in a lot of trouble after that. My God.
Oh,
Okay, so
imagine the
married-
smell of your ass after that. Jesus.
Sulphurous.
All right, so marinade with Max, milk rounds got to be done
Milk-
when Ryan,
milk's
when
good.
yeah,
When
got to
Ryan
be
comes
done.
down.
I think we
Yeah.
need to do it for when we do the studio show. We'll have a mop on hand for yak and milk. John, last season at Leicester, we'll just hit you up with a couple more questions, then we'll go. We've got some quick fire ones as well.
Yeah.
You'll probably recall this last season at Leicester, your substitution for an injury and then re-entry to the pitch in the second half, and a couple of the front row were in the sin bin. That caused Steve Borthwick to kind of lose it and start screaming at Pat Lamb for his unsporting-like behaviour. Can you give us the real story about what happened that day?
Oh, it was mad, wasn't it? It was a bit of a shambles. I'll give it like a brief one because I don't want to get stuck with saying something that's not official and then like I get done again for it. But the gist of it was like I wasn't even meant to play that game. I was like just back from injury, but someone had gone down during the week, probably Max. And then they were like, "Oh, look, you might as well just start and then come off straight away, and then that'll be you done because we don't want you sitting on the bench for 40 or 50, getting cold, and then like redoing your calf or whatever it was." I was like, "Okay, got to halftime, I'm off." I think the RG boy, had gone on, so he was like playing, got simbined, and then something happened. So obviously, then all the big commotion started kicking off. Like the refs weren't too sure. Our normal manager was away, so we had this other guy, Geth, running the sideline. And then it just started building and building. I was like, "Oh, what's going on, Geth?" He's like, "I don't know, Pat's coming down." And then once Pat came down, that was it. It was just like everyone's going at everyone. They're like, "Oh, you cheat." And then they're like coming at me. I was sitting there like trying to like keep it cool. They're like, "We know you're fine, John. Just go on, be the right big man and do what's right." Because obviously we were getting dusted in the scrums. I was just like, "Oh my God." I was like, "What's happening here?" And I got up, like joined the conversation. And then they're like, I think technically if I didn't go on, we would go down to 13 men. So like I was like, can't have that. Like if we got to going down to 13, they're going to walk in and try and win. So I was just like, so I just ended up wandering off. I was like, I might as well do the scrum. It's one, risk it. You know what I mean? So going on, they're like, but I think by then Borthwick had realized it's better for me to not go on. So I started walking on, and he was like, "No, you can't go on. You said you're injured." I was just like, "Oh, too late. I'm already on the field." So that was fine. Obviously, the scrum happened. Andy grabs the ball, kicks it out. That's fine. But then I feel bad, and I try to apologize to what's his name, Ruggleworth. Oh, what's his first name?
Richard.
Yeah, Richard.
Yeah, I tried to apologize after the game. He wasn't having it, but I just felt sorry for him because he was like the first guy I seen. So they kicked the ball up with one. 10 centimeters from his face, I start screaming, just giving it the old, "Yeah!" Like, I mean, I hold it like thinking it's like,
Mate.
I'm holding it like it's the greatest show, just like, "Yes!" Which was fine. Like, emotions were high because he was like in the conversations too. But what made it worse was like, I went to walk off and he was sort of half in front of me. I've given it like the shoulder barge too. Because he was in my way. So I've like yelled in his face, went to walk off. I've like shoulder barged him. And then I think he's lost it. And all I felt was someone grabbed the back of my collar and pulled me to the ground. He's on top of me, screaming in my face, trying to punch me in the face. And I'm like, well, this is justified, isn't it? I'll just stay here and take it. Like, I can't really complain. I've yelled in his face, shoulder barged him, and he's like up in my grill, like saying all sorts. And then obviously the big fight breaks out. I end up like getting loose. I've like wiggled off the ground and like rolled to my left and like got out of the pile. The big like wrestle is still happening. I'm sitting underneath the post, just thinking like, is the game done, please? Like, and then that was it. So not ideal, but especially when we got to play them in a few weeks. I'm sure it'll be part of the build-up.
Bloody Kiwis.
I know, yeah, I got a shocking voice. Feel like it's gotten worse, I think, as I get slower around the field because I can't catch guys and I can't tackle them. If it's at set piece or like at breakdowns, I am just like so mouthy at the moment. It's bad.
I love that.
Let's just finish off, John, with quick ones. Best player you've ever played with?
Tano Umaga. Just because, like,
that was quick.
Yeah, like people ask me all the time, but it's everything. He was like, obviously, when he was playing, absolutely like legend, but like the whole off-field stuff with looking after the team, making sure everyone was good, looking after the young boys, but had the balance of like having a good night out too. So I just think Tano was like the absolute, like, even though say rugby-wise, there might be like Richie or Dan because they were absolute like freaks on the field, but I thought like Tano for everything was like the guy.
You can clear this up for me then, because it gets thrown around with you Kiwi boys all the time.
Yeah,
is he the original Scucks?
Who, Big T?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like he does rate himself a little bit. You know what I mean? He wasn't like overly over the top, but he knew he was like a big sort of manna behind him, like the dressed like well, like had the dreads. You know what I mean? Like, and then obviously Mata just like under his wing, and then like took over.
And then Marnonu became the next Scucks, because that's all we called Sean Maitland when he got over. Scucks Deluxe. That's where I learned it from.
Big Shawnee, yeah.
John, best player you've played against?
Tell you, I was like a real fan of like the Aussies, you know what I mean? I think my first game was against like the Brumbies, and I loved all like that Brumbies team, like the, you know, Herbert at 13, like Latham at 15, like Tim Horan, all those guys, like Big Wendell, like Takiri, like playing against those guys, I was just like absolutely like wanted to ask for the autographs. I should have, because like I can't do it now, but like playing against them, like that whole sort of early like 2000 Australian team, like John Eales, it was just like, just the way they played and attacked, they were like unbelievable, weren't they? You know what I mean? Especially like Big Wendell, like playing against that guy, like it was just tearing it up, Matt Rogers and all that stuff. I thought they were like class, that sort of era of Aussie boys. And they're like top lads, aren't they?
Nice.
Your biggest highlight of your career?
I tell you what, it's not really a highlight, but it's one of those ones, like a fun fact. Like in 2006, I was like the only player in Super Rugby to play every minute. So like absolutely like put through the ringer. That was like when I was like one prop on the bench. But it's like a sad story too, because we had this guy, Mike Noble, in our team. He was like the fourth choice prop or fifth. So like last game of the year, they're like, oh, Nobes, you're going to go on the bench. I was like, thank the Lord, like I won't have to play 80 this one. We're like smoking the team by 40, and they still didn't even put him on for like a minute. Like, so like I got my like record, the only player to play every minute, but he didn't even get a cap for the Blues that year. It was like a bit sad for him, but that was it.
Is that the only player to have ever done that?
Nah, they had guys every year, but for that 1 year, 2006, like absolutely like put through the ringer.
Fair play. That's unbelievable. No wonder he's still going at 38. I honestly, this is what I was saying to these lot. If you take too much time off, you end up breaking down. You just got to keep plugging away. Keep plugging away.
Keep the oven warm, you know, keep that warm oven. Like, there you go. Just keep the diesel warm. That's the key.
Exactly.
You know? Boys are like, you want a massage? I was like, why? I like my back as stiff as possible and keep my neck all like seized up just so like protects the traps.
I completely agree, man. I'm not joking. What, like physios? Don't crack my back. Don't touch me. Don't try and realign my body. It'll fix itself. I sometimes find playing 80 minutes fixes me better than going for a massage.
Like I can't change lanes because I can't like turn the car or anything, but like, you know, I can still get forward on it. So that's the most important thing at the moment.
Expert medical opinions from the two of you. John, final one. I don't know why I've left it to the end. Do you have from an amazing career any big regret that jumps to mind?
Nothing major. I said like say obviously when I came to Europe, like there was no sort of national stuff. So like I felt like when I was at Ulster, at times at Gloucester, then like at Bristol, I felt like I was playing better rugby now than I was in New Zealand because, and even like Super Rugby, I was playing better, but could never quite convert it onto the international stage. And I think it was being like a younger guy, like I think I was like 22 to 28 when I was playing. I think just like really clamped up, like just didn't play my natural game, like ball in hand, or that freedom to have that confidence where go on the big stage was like, oh man, like I can't make a mistake. I can't do this. I can't be myself. So like, I think back now, like if I'd done that, maybe I would have been able to play a few more games or stayed longer because I would have been in the team a bit more. So I think that's the major one, like, you know, and that's always at that age, it was maybe hard to see, like, well, I'm not playing my natural game. They're like, why aren't you not converting, like, you know, say your Super Rugby form international stuff? So I think that was the big one. But other than that, like, I've been very lucky to go to like some good clubs, like not many injuries, some good times with the boys, some success, you know, a couple of big losses too, you know. At Ulster, I think we made the Heineken Cup final my first year, got like a record scoreboard against us. The next year we like topped the league, lost to like Leinster in the final, you know what I mean? Gloucester, we're pretty much in the Challenge Cup every year final, then we lost most of them. I think we only won 1 out of the 3. You know what I mean? So like some big losses here, but there was always like a good time building up to those like games and, you know, the memories and all that kind of stuff.
Sadly, that's all the time we've got left this week. Thank you for tuning in. Do make sure that you like and subscribe. Thank you to Ryan. Thank you to Max. And thank you to John. And we'll see you all next week.
See you, brother.